Welcome to the talk show where men unite, having conversations that inspire, ignite. From relationships to wellness, we cover it all. In this positive space, we're standing tall. We're the men of the talk show, spreading good vibes.
All right, welcome back to season 3, episode 7 of the Men's Talk Show. We got another recruiting guest that came on in the first half of the season here, and he's back, and he's going to be telling his story, what he's been up to, how things is going in his life, and then eventually he's going to be talking about how he overcame suicide, basically. So what you been up to, Habib?
Yeah, welcome back.
Thank you so much. I've been doing great from last time we spoke. A lot have happened since then.
Tell us about it. I'm glad to hear you're doing great. I'm excited to hear the story.
To make a long story short, I had an incredible meeting with myself through being able to isolate myself. Maybe I should tell everybody the story, but I leave it till the end, so it gets chronological.
Let's hear it.
So, this episode is about suicide, so I'm gonna tell the story of where it all began. For me, when I grew up with both Asperger syndrome and ADHD, and Asperger syndrome is high-functioning autism. That's the name today, and Asperger is the old name. And I never knew I had it until a year ago. So growing up with that, and my father was pointing at it to the doctors, and they said, no, you don't have that. And I always felt like I could never fit in. So when I was 11, I had my first suicidal thought. I was thinking about it. I was thinking about how to do it. When I was at school, I think I was about 8 or one of the teachers were reading a news story about a boy who hanged himself. He was 11 years old, and he did that in the school's toilet. And what I believed is I could hear it from other people talking. Kids don't have those thoughts, and then they were reading about it, and then I was feeling like maybe we kids do, because I've been thinking about it, and I felt like my thoughts were gaslights. I gaslighted when they said kids don't have these thoughts, but I always had them. I could never fit in, and I always felt left out, and I always felt lonely, and I had nobody to talk to about it. And every night from when I was 11 till I was 13, when I was sleeping, I had my bed just close to the window. I was looking up in the sky, and I was begging to God to give me a sign, and I was crying. After 13, I started to misbehave a lot more. I was talking back to adults. I was screaming and kicking and all of that. I was adjusting pain and suffering from that pain, and I couldn't put words into it. And I learned one grown-up word when I was 13. I can still remember it. I never forgot it, where I could feel like adults could listen to me. And I started to use it. And then I could hear them listening to me. But after that, when I said one grown-up word, I started to talk like a child again. So people stopped listening. And I tried to get help from everywhere. I started to say I am suicidal. I started to say I want to commit suicide. I want to kill myself. I'm tired. And I studied psychiatry in upper secondary school, a course in that. I studied 2 courses in psychology, and I learned a lot more. I started to read psychotherapy when I was about 18, 19. The same books that they, one of those books that they study, that they have as a course literature in the university. So I started to make sense of my emotions a little bit more. And there is a sentence going, I don't want to commit suicide, but I'm just too tired to live. And that, I could feel that. It makes sense to me. And this is what I feel. I tried to commit suicide many times, hanging myself, put a plastic bag over my head, having, how can I say, a cable or something just to suffocate myself. I tried with sleeping pills, sitting in the bathtub, hoping that I would sleep, so I drowned myself. And when my daughter passed away, when it was like 2013, I held a gun to my head, here and here, fully charged, thinking maybe I should do this, check out. And I remember thinking to myself, either you check out or you do something about it. And I'm sitting here, so I did something about it. And I saw a girl. She was having her exam from upper secondary school, and she had Down syndrome. And me, I don't have that. Why could she do it and not me? So I started to go back to school again at 23, 24, finishing off upper secondary school. I still had those emotions. I don't know how to handle it. And I started right throughout all of this. I wrote poetry. I wrote music. I learned how to sing, and that helped me a lot. And I had friends, but I felt like nobody still could understand what I was going through inside. So for me, it was a constant struggle with an internal fight with myself. And I started to try to explain it for myself. Now, as I got older, there about 24, I started to look at emotions like demons. Bad emotions are demons. Every emotion is one person that I need to face. I talk with it. Like there is 1 million demons that I need to face. Doing it myself, I will never win. They will win over me. But if I meet them one and one, if I win over one, that emotion will be on my side. Now we are two against one. Now we are three against one. And I continue doing that. And that started to create this sense of me meeting all of me. But still, that didn't help. It just started to make sense. But there was one time I was looking in the mirror and I realized I couldn't look myself in the eyes for more than 2 seconds. Then I felt this shame inside of me. Everything that I am and everything that I am doing, everything is wrong with me. And what I realized there was that I have a kid inside of me, that small boy that I locked inside some kind of prison or cage. He was in a cage, and I never let him grow. I was always growing up. I was growing up too early. So I just locked him in. And I real meeting that boy, allowing him to come out, I needed to make a safe, how can I say, environment for him. I needed him to trust me again. But after all of those years, it's hard. So I had to be patient, small, step by step. I needed to promise him, and I needed to live by that promise that I will never do that again. When that happened, when I realized that, bits by bits, I started to grow. I could feel it. But still, I was suffering. Things were still not good. I packed up all of my things, all of my belongings, put them at my mother's and father's place. I bought one-way ticket and quit my job, and then I was backpacking. When I was backpacking at 27, I realized I have always been suppressing myself living here in Sweden. And I did that to myself. So by traveling, meeting other people, different ideas, different mindsets, they were always putting me to the wall without judging me. It was like they were questioning what I was saying, but they were still there. They didn't go away. It was just a human conversation. But when I was here, people put me against the wall, judged me, and walked away. So I realized that's why I am alone. And I also realized I have never been proud over myself for anything that I do. And today I am proud for the tiniest thing that I do, like ironing this shirt. I did that, nobody else. And I did it. I did a great job by doing that. So I tell myself these things. And sometimes people ask me, how can you be happy for doing the small things? That's my reward, complimenting myself for doing things, because we're going to walk through this life all alone. Nobody will ever understand us. And trying to fight with that, hoping that somebody someday will understand us. And it's, how can I say, it's a childish idea. Happiness, people are trying to look for that. Happiness does not exist. Sorrow does not exist. And the idea of having them as existing and creating a meaning from that is just it's just one person's idea. Happiness means something different for everybody else. Therefore, it's just an interpretation of a word which means nothing to the other. Being kind doesn't exist. It's just an interpretation to the one that gets the kindness. How I speak can be hurtful to somebody, while for somebody else, it will be helpful. And I don't know what could be triggering somebody else. And I realized also recently, everything that triggers me, I am grateful to receive. That's teaching me how to become a better person. And I started to, what has helped me a lot through all of this just recently, because I was always fighting, always believing, hoping things will get better one day. Don't stop. Whatever you do, Habib, don't stop with anything of what you do. Continue fighting for it. It will eventually happen, and things are happening in the right direction for me. But trying to be grateful for triggers. This is telling me something about myself. What is it telling me? I don't like how that person is speaking to me. Well, I can't tell everybody, going around telling everybody, well, you heard me. I need to be able to handle it myself. If I am with my friends, I can speak openly. Well, you know, what you said the other day, it really hurts me. And if they don't ask, how come it hurt you? They are no friends online, because friends is gonna ask, because friends are gonna respect. But I can't expect that from a stranger. And if a stranger is treating me bad, the stranger is treating themselves 10 times worse. It's no personal. How can somebody treat me badly without knowing me? And I started to realize also anger is a secondary emotion. So if somebody is angry, it's something they created with themselves showing outside. Realizing these things and going into choosing one philosophy that I want to follow, Stoicism, those things are helping me. I need to learn how to understand them for myself. Throughout my entire life, being trying to commit suicide, wanting to die, hoping that one day I will die. To what I have now, I am happy I didn't do it. Because life is awesome and I am awesome and I love myself, and it took a long time to get there. But I was putting myself firstly, and sometimes I needed to become selfish. And sometimes I told people, I can't think about your feelings now. I can only think about myself. I don't want to think about you. I just want to think about myself. So people at least know where I am. I don't have the time. I don't have the patience. I need to focus on myself. And I need to find a way for that to make sense for me. That's the hardest part of it all. And I also believe that people need to sing a lot for themselves. Go to, how can I say, viewpoints, walk in nature, and just be with themselves. If people want to please somebody else, do that at work. You need to do it. But when you get home, close the door and just focus on yourself. Don't put anything out on social media. Nada, nothing. Don't talk about how sad your life is, how bad your life is. That means you're thinking about it. And when you think about it, it's there constantly. Try to do something else instead. Take a walk. If you can't take a walk, just sit inside the room. If you don't want to sit, lay down on the bed. Look at the, how can I say, the ceiling. If you don't have energy to brush your teeth, don't do it. I went without brushing my teeth when I was at my worst. 5 days. I did not take a shower for a week. I smelled. And I told my colleagues, sorry for smelling. They were always okay. You don't smell. And I knew they were lying, but I needed that kindness. And also with having all of this, I've been at a workplace, how can I say, work places where the colleagues were treated me badly. And I never knew why. And they never told me anything about it. But I could always sense something was wrong. But I never spoke about it with them because that would make things worse. I just pretended that I didn't understand what was going on. But in this workplace where I work now, if I haven't been, if thanks to that workplace, I am still standing today. You see, I live 5 hours away from my family, and I told them, I want you to stay there. I don't want you to come. We can talk on the phone, but I need to do this on my own. But through this workplace, being by myself, without them, I wouldn't be standing. And thanks to them, I became a better person to myself. I could treat myself better. And without them, I don't know what I would be able, I don't know what I would do, how I would survive all of this. Everything I went through my whole life, it's thanks to me changing the environment. Because the same environment would keep me in the same thoughts. The same thoughts would probably take me down. And I think I would never want to become better. But nobody else beside myself, and I realized that too, is going to make my situation better. I moved to a city with, how can I say, $600 and a suitcase with some of my belongings, and I didn't know anybody in the city. Still 5 hours away from my family. I was prepared to sleep on the street because I wanted to live here. I was prepared to sleep on the street, go into the toilet, put some soap under my arms to wash myself, and go to work till I find a place. But I was lucky. I slept on a sofa for 1 month and then I found a place to rent. And then I started the university. Then I studied. And now, well, thanks to the backpack trip, I could live off of that, but it's still hard. But it helped me throughout the depression, which I believed I had until I did, how can I say, the thing where I find out that I have ADHD and autism and realized I was never depressed. I just had this. And knowing that changed my perspective on myself. I got med, which helped me a lot. I'm more calmer now. And a combination of all of that, and I'm 33. And whatever I'm going through now, I can tackle it in a way that I never thought I was able to do. So this internal thing that I was going through was due to me not knowing that I have ADHD and autism and that I could have treatment for it. Not treatment, but have medicine that could help me to function a lot better. Social cues and everything. I had to write a thesis when I was studying about norms and values to understand what norms are. I couldn't make sense of it otherwise. And I
All right,
realized not knowing that fucked up my life.
all right, Habib. That was a lot to unpack, but I'm
Yeah.
gonna take parts of it and break it down to help our
Mm,
viewers understand exactly what's going on. So you talk a lot about inner child, healing the inner
yeah.
childhood in the beginning. I know it's a lot of men that's going through that. They never really healed themselves when they were younger. So that carry all the hurt, frustration, whatever they was going through, carry over into their adulthood. And so that's what makes them not emotionally available in relationships or healed as a whole person as they are adult. But a lot of things that I noticed that what you were saying that you wanted to kill yourself at 11 years old. How does one
Yeah.
think to do that at just 11 years old?
For me, it was, I didn't, how can I say? I was, I don't know what caused the idea of wanting to commit suicide, but I knew that I wanted to do it. I knew that I was tired of living, feeling anxious. And I see it in kids today that they have the same feelings. And as a child, it's hard to explain why, but the sense of not feeling cared of. Nobody cares. Whatever you are going through, nobody listens to you. It's the idea of committing suicide becomes closer than actually wanting to live because suffering is harder.
And I think that's what says it right there is we all want to feel connected and cared about. And when you don't have that, you feel like something is missing there and maybe you're the problem.
Yeah.
And even at a young age, it's sad that it's something that you had to go through. But again, like Duran said, there was a lot there. And I really hope that people who are watching this really take the time to understand the journey that you went through to find yourself and be able to face yourself in the mirror to overcome, to realize that happiness is a matter of choice sometimes and perspective and looking back and being appreciative for being able to get out of bed, for ironing your shirt and having a good present yourself well, to appreciate yourself for the things that you're able to do throughout the day. There are big things or small things because the small things add up. Things that we take for granted every day, if you start taking out this one and that one and small things, it really takes a toll on you. So being able to appreciate those every day, something great happens in your life every single day. And that's what you really try to get to. And it really took you some time to understand that. And also being able to acknowledge that there was something going on with the ADHD that for all of your adult life and your young life didn't know about. And being able to acknowledge that, seek help for that. If it wasn't for studying the psychology of it, maybe you wouldn't have had that understanding. And so reflecting on all that, I hope people who feel like they're not connecting or there's something like just off, to go speak to somebody and see maybe they're suffering the same thing and they just don't know it. And so just being able to have a place to voice will help a lot. And so I'm really glad that you came on today and really we gave you the space to just share your whole story, which we didn't really get into last time. And I truly hope that somebody listens to this and it really helps them a lot.
I hope so too.
Any last
So
words you want to say, Habib?
I just want to say, if there's touches who listens, you are not alone, and everybody has their story, and you have yours. And I wasn't going into details. I shared it in sequences. Feel free to reach out, and don't blame yourself because it was never your fault. There are explanations to everything that you went through, and there are reasons why you have it came to those feelings that you are feeling. Even though you can't understand them right now, there are still explanations for you as well. It took time for me to realize I wasn't always like this, but I created the idea of who I wanted to be, and I worked hard to get there. But you
Yeah.
can too. Let me
And
be the
real,
proof.
what is you talked about before the show, an organization that you wanted to help fathers in Sweden. Please give us a quick 1 minute insight into that.
Sure. It's a lot of something. But I want to help fathers in Sweden because a lot of fathers don't have the rights on their side, and a lot of fathers don't know what rights they have on their side. And a lot of fathers don't know how to talk when it comes to this kind of situation, what to actually, how can I say, show, and how to explain what is important in that situation. It's never about you as a father, it's about your child's right to a father and how to keep focus on that. And I want to help fathers to understand that. Me myself, I'm an educated preschool teacher, and I can help you to navigate through the thoughts on what's important for you. That's what I want to do, and I'm only helping fathers and not mothers in this sense. Mothers have a lot of help, but fathers doesn't.
Got it. Thanks for that. And that's true. There's even here in America, there's a lot of help for women and children, single moms, but single dads, they don't really get the same type of support as well. So thanks for that. And I look forward to seeing how you can help some of the men in Sweden. And thanks again for coming on and sharing your story and being vulnerable. And I really hope it helps someone.
Yeah.
And I look forward to connecting with you here and in the future.
It's the same. Thank you for having me.
Take care, everybody.
Take care. Bye.
Welcome to the talk show where men unite, having conversations that inspire, ignite. From relationships to wellness, we cover it all. In this positive space, we're standing tall. We're the men of the talk show, spreading good vibes.